Hey y'all, welcome back. Today we're going over the new book releases for this week, the last weekish of January and beginning of February. So I have a lot I'm excited about. So many of these sound good. Also, there are quite a bit of a sequel trilogy books here at the end of the list. I'll put all of those towards the end and we will just hop into the newer stuff that's new series stuff. And we're off. This month is Maru, the Alloy Era Book 1 by S.B. Devinia. This one sounds really cool. It's a sci-fi. We're talking space travel, human-ish relation peoples. It's for 5 centuries, human life has been restricted to Earth, while post-human descendants called alloys freely explore the galaxy. But when an Earth-like planet of Maru is discovered, 2 unlikely companions venture forth to test the habitability of this unoccupied new world and the future of human-alloy relations. As the journey challenges their resolve in unexpected ways, the 2 form a bond that only deepens with their time alone on Maru. But can they succeed in freeing humanity from its past when they have been set up to fail? Against all odds, hope is human too. And our next one is one that was my anticipated releases, on my anticipated releases, is fantasy, but reading the Amazon description of the book versus reading where I first saw its release news, it is apparently more grimdark, and Amazon actually does contain content warnings. Apparently this book is gonna have some graphic stuff. There's a lot of violence, gore, heavy language. It also deals with heavy themes like realistic representation of disability, has descriptive adult content, self-harm, mental illness, other things that I can't say on camera. But this is 11th cycle of the Mistland series by Kian Ardalan. I'm so sorry for mispronouncing people's names. It's been 1,000 years since the last seed abandoned their duty. The mists are closing in. Finally, the morning bell tolls. A new seed is born, but is it too late? The rot eats away at mortals. The witnesses pray so that they may not turn into one of the forgotten, and the constricting mists infect the lands with fear. But there is more to this tale than just the elders and their seeds. 4 mortals will have a part to play in Mentheria's fate: a farmer girl with only love in her eyes, a warrior born to the life of a refugee, a highborn stuck between the realm of gods and men, and a woman running into front lines and away from home. Will the cycle finally be completed, or will the mist swallow all? So see, it sounds cool and grimdark though, and all of those content warnings do scare me just a little bit. So definitely, if you think the description sounds cool, check the content warnings yourself to see more of the exact wording of it, please. Our next one is more of a contemporary fantasy, and this is Flickers of Fall by E.C. Madrid. Some people play with fire, she commands it. When a fiery incident forces Azara Salazar to flee her small town life for a fresh start, she finds herself making a new home somewhere she never imagined. Then, when immersed in a life of affluence, Azara realizes how easy it is for her new family to detach themselves from what's left of the world around them. Still, a life of indifference doesn't dull the truth. She crosses paths with a group of evolving humans on a dangerous rescue mission and joins their ranks after securing their trust. Sharpening her abilities with the help of a new friend, Azara must reconcile her past before she can achieve mastery. But after an unspeakable tragedy leaves her burning with grief, her rage gets fiery again, but this time it won't be an accident. So it's interesting. I don't know the age of our main character. It sounds like maybe it starts younger, and then maybe she spends time in this place and she's a little older. I don't know, but then she sounds young. We'll have to read it and find out. Our next one, though, is a cozy mystery, and I love the name of it. It's Hostile Talkover by Gretchen Allen, and on the cover is a food truck. I'm sorry, this is just going to be adorable. It has to be, because it just looks adorable. And when an unexpected inheritance turns deadly, Billy Halifax is not only new to Sea Glass Island, Florida, but also to the food truck business. After her late grandmother left her a non-functional fleet, Billy packed up and headed out on a new adventure, ready for anything, or so she thought. Her first task is to find a manager for the initial truck, so she narrows it down to 3 potential candidates from a local culinary school. They'll show off their skills and she'll pick the best of the best for her first truck, Taco the Town. Billy's off to a bit of a rocky start, having to deal with cranky business partners she didn't even know she had. Things go from bad to worse when one of the contestants competing for the manager position is found dead and the other 2 are at the top of the suspect list. So, it sounds cutesy. It's got a taco truck. Yes. I'm just going to say yes. Okay. And the last, before we get into our series additions, is going to be a nonfiction, and this is Love, Pamela by Pamela Anderson. So this is her story from growing up to, the stardom of her 90s, and I think probably into where she is now a little bit, but it is in her own words as she goes through her trials and tribulations of what the public eye was, how bad the paparazzi was in the 90s, and how she has found herself now in the piece and what she's doing. So I don't know. It sounds like it might be pretty interesting. Apparently she is very into poetry and stuff, and things like that, and music will be input throughout the book. So I think it sounds pretty cool for one of the autobiographical types of books. We will have to see how it turns out. Starting us off on our list of third book in the series, / some of them are the conclusion of the series, but this one is Mystery Humorousness, that is Finlay Donovan Jumps the Gun by El Cosmino. This is the third in the Finlay Donovan series that is all about a mom author who was pitching, hold on, let me read it. A stressed out single mom of 2 and a struggling novelist, Finlay finds her life in chaos. When Finlay is overheard discussing the plot of her new suspense novel with her agent over lunch, she's mistaken for a contract killer and inadvertently accepts an offer to dispose of a problem husband. Finlay soon discovers that crime in real life is a lot more difficult than fictional counterpart as she becomes tangled in a murder investigation. And this tagline is, "It's murder being a hit mom." It sounds so funny. I want to read it. I will eventually get to be able to read it. Moving along though, we are going into YA fantasy, and this is Chain of Thorns, the final book in the Last Hours, I think, series, as part of her overall Shadowhunters world, and that is of course Cassandra Clare. This one is like Chain of Iron, Chain of Gold, Chain of Thorns, and this takes place in like the early 1900s, I think. And yep, I have not read this series particular of hers, but it takes place with a Lightwood ancestor, and it's still Shadowhunters, so there's demons and angels and magic of their sort, and drama. I'm sorry, I did not get the first book's description here to be able to say a good description of that book. Our next third book in the series though is Final Offer by Lauren Asher. As far as these though go, I believe each one is a separate thing, a separate standalone books in her Billionaire series. I think this one apparently, it says it's the final book in the Dreamland Billionaire series. And this one is about Callahan. It says, I'm the Kane brother everyone gossips about behind closed doors. Trust fund brat, washed up athlete, high functioning alcoholic. No one knows the real me but her. Lena Castillo, my childhood best friend and the only woman I have ever loved. When I broke her heart 6 years ago, I promised to never return to Lake Wisteria. I kept my word until my grandfather's will changed everything. So, yeah, that is what that is about. I've not read that series at all either, or heard much about it, except people talking about it. They have like the blueprints of houses and stuff on the covers of the book, so the books always look intriguing. And our last book on this list is going to be the sci-fi Children of Memory by Adrian Tchaikovsky. This one is the final book in I think it's just the Children of Time series. Thousands of years ago, Earth's great empire fell and humanity fled to the stars. Their ark ships discovered new species, new allies, and new threats. This extraordinary novel explores the nature of time, memory, and life itself. The first book in the series was Children of Time. Shh, bad computer. Who will inherit this new Earth? The last remnants of the human race left a dying Earth, desperate to find a new home among the stars. Following in the footsteps of their ancestors, they discovered the greatest treasure of the past age, a world terraformed and prepared for human life. But all is not right with this new Eden. In the long years since the planet was abandoned, the work of its architects has borne disastrous fruit. The planet is not waiting for them, pristine and unoccupied. New masters have turned it from a refuge into mankind's worst nightmare. Now 2 civilizations are on a collision course, both testing the boundaries of what they will do to survive, as the fate of humanity hangs in the balance. Who are the true heirs of this new Earth? And this is the conclusion to that series, and I cannot wait to read this series. I want to. Oh, it sounds so cool. Perfect sci-fi. I want to. I really do. Well, this is the end of the very long list of books coming out this week. We had new releases that are the starts of series, and so many conclusion of series coming out this week as it's concluding a month. Not really. Some of them are mostly on the 31st. Some of them are February, but most of them are the 31st side of the week. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you were able to find something new and intriguing, or one that you just didn't know was about to come out yet that is in the series that you have already started. I have my February TBR up for you guys to go check out, though, if you have not yet. And if you're liking my content, please consider subscribing. That way you can see next week's new releases and the book reviews for all the books coming out soon. Thank you guys so much for being here. I hope you're finding something awesome to read, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.